Hello, all you lovely people, and welcome to another Enhanced Edition, where I want to say we're getting close to wrapping up my Cyberverse custom project that I started, I think it was almost exactly a year ago now, when I started with Cyberverse Adventures Deluxe Bumblebee. This has been a project, my goodness. I want to say we're getting close to the end, however, even though I now have all the Build-A-Figure parts and finished Macadam, and I do have Macadam painted, we will be looking at him after this. I also found out that Cyberverse Adventures Deluxe is going to continue. I did see the images of, I believe it was Prowl and Soundwave. There may have been more that I'm forgetting. This is great news because I actually really like the Cyberverse Adventures Deluxe line, and it's been great for customizing, but this is also terrible news because I thought I was done, and I am not done. But can't really complain about having an excuse to get more toys to paint, right? Now, for those who have been paying attention to the line, you may have noticed that this is not the Cyberverse Thunderhowl that comes with the Macadam Build-A-Figure part. That is because Cyberverse Adventures Deluxe Thunderhowl, while a neat figure, and that figure does have a cool transformation, so it's got some cool engineering, I'm trying to think of a good way to phrase this. It's probably the least show-accurate Cyberverse Adventures Deluxe in the entire line. And I'm not talking about missing details, I'm talking about the fact that the colors, like the entire color palette of that toy is wrong. Because I didn't feel up to the task of completely repainting the entire figure, I took a look at the Ultra Class Thunderhowl, which is what we're looking at clearly because that's the title of the video. And Ultra Class Thunderhowl, as far as the molding and the deco, is much closer to the show model. So I went with the Ultra Class Thunderhowl for my custom project. I did get the Deluxe Thunderhowl because I needed the Macadam part, but this one is just more accurate and is a better fit for the project that I'm working on. But yes, here we have Ultra Class Thunderhowl, and the coloring's still not perfect. This is kind of like a dark green, and I think in the show is more of a black, but at least the actual positioning of the details is correct. I left it the dark green and then went in and painted over a lot of bits. As you can probably see right off the bat, I colored over the metallic blue details with this more lighter Energon-ish blue that I have. That's still a surprisingly great fit for that color palette. I also painted the claws on his hands silver. I painted the frills, or whatever you want to call it, and the mouth, both parts of the mouth on the head silver. Painted his nose in black. I painted this little detail back here silver. I left the neck alone though, because transformation parts, I gotta be mindful of that. But then I also did the silver spines on the back and this little detail back here in silver. I will go over most of these other details when I get into the robot mode. Last thing I did specifically for the wolf mode is I painted the underside of his tail silver. According to the show model, that is meant to be kind of like a silvery color. Oh, and as you can see on the shoulders, I did the kind of bits here and the spikes silver. Again, we'll see a lot of this when we get to the robot mode. I will admit the Deluxe proportionally works a little bit better in what it does and how it handles the transformation and the moving parts around. This one's a little bit awkward and he has these enormous legs. It still works. It gets the job done. Also, if you're wondering about the cape, you can put the cape on the wolf. I'm not going to peg it in because why bother, but you can put the cape on the wolf. I prefer not to because, one, it's kind of annoying to do, and also it covers up this detail that I spent all that time painting, so no. But we will be taking a look at the cape in more detail once we get to the robot mode, which actually I guess we can do that right now. Okay, so here we have Ultra Class Thunderhowl in his robot mode. To start with, we will be making some little tweaks here and there as we go, but again, lots of additional stuff painted here. All the metallic-y blue was replaced with the lighter blue. I painted the biceps silver, the little elbow joints black, the fists have been painted in black, the thighs have been painted in black, the kneecaps have been painted in blue, the little bits around the feet have been painted in blue and white. Added the black to the feet as well. I did the silver for the heels and the little divots inside the feet. In addition to that, I also did the black just inside the shoulder joint there. It was also, I have to say, a little bit of a challenge doing the biceps and thighs in silver and black respectively, because these armor pieces are on little separate bits here that you can see that kind of move independently of the actual bicep joints and thigh joints. That was a challenge because I had to take those apart and paint them separately in order to get them to function like they're supposed to function. So it keeps the bicep and thigh from being broken up by like a gray piece of plastic, but that was a thing that I had to do. It was involved. There was also a fair bit that I had to do to the head. I of course replaced the metallic blue with light blue, but in addition to that, I added more light blue going up along the head crest here, painted the little bit in the center there silver, painted the neck silver, and I had to paint his eyes. Because Ultra Class Thunderhowl, at least the one I got, I don't know if this is across the board, but mine, his eyes weren't painted at all. His face was silver, his eyes were silver, like it was just all silver. I'm glad I did it, and you can actually see his eyes now, but geez. Now, to get him prepped the rest of the way for his warrior mode, we're going to pop the sword out of his tail, because that's a sentence. I did not paint the sword accurately, but that is because, again, I worry about paint rub when I do these things, so I try to focus on painting things that probably won't have to worry too much about paint rub, or I can at least be careful with. The way this sword stores, it would scrape the paint off of like the tabs of, yeah. Rather than try and paint it to be as show accurate as possible, I ended up just going into the center detail of the sword with silver. So there we've got the sword, and then of course we can pop off the wolf head. And there you can see I actually painted the inside of the upper jaw black as well to make the inside of the mouth a little shadowy, just because. And then this will peg onto the sword as you do, and then the sword can go into his hand as it should, and there we have that. And then for the chest detail underneath the wolf head, I actually painted that as well. You can see the silver I did for the jaw and the black in there, but then I also did the blue in here. I couldn't get it to match the show model exactly because the way this is shaped is not entirely accurate to the way it looks in the show because, you know, it's a physical toy. The wolf head clips there, so the clip has to be there. There are limitations, but I tried to evoke that feeling as best I could, so that's how that looks. I also did not paint the cape to be 100% show accurate because going by the show model, this silver goes all the way down the entire back of the cape. Like the whole thing, the whole back of the cape should be this silver, and then just the inside is red. I could not see myself happily hand painting this entire thing with at least 2 coats of silver, by the way. So rather than that, I just did these bits on top. And I think that works because it kind of gets the point across that like these are the more metal bits that are used to hold the cape in place, and then this is actually like the flowing cape bit. So like Clobber, because he is a Ultra Class figure in the Cyberverse, I think, Adventures line, he's got the Energon armor gimmick. And the way you activate it is by pushing his lower wolf jaw down. So you push that and the whole thing springs out. It's really, really badly placed. That thing is in the perfect spot to accidentally get pushed all the time when I'm handling this figure. It's so hard because I just want to grab him like that, but you have to like grab around the jaw because otherwise you do it and then But as you can see, the armor still works, still flips over, and it does look cool. I didn't do anything to the Energon armor itself, just like Clobber, but I much more prefer to, oh, and also, in case you're wondering, that's how it looks with cape on. And this does look cool, but I prefer having all that detail that I painted visible. So I'm just gonna clip that back in there and put this back on and take care not to touch that this time. So yes, that is Thunderhowl with all of his gear on, and I am extremely happy with the way this turned out. Admittedly, his color palette, and this is the show model I'm talking about, not just like the toy, but like his color palette is a bit less interesting than some of the other Cyberverse figures, because they just have so many interesting bright colors. Grimlock has like bright yellow and some reds and some blues and some silvers. RC is like pink and white. Bumblebee, yellow, black, light blue. And then Thunderhowl is like dark green, black, silver, light blue. Light blue does stand out, but it's the only bright color in the entire color palette. it's just a little limiting. Like, yeah, there's the yellow, but that's just for the eyes and the wolf eyes, so that I don't really count that because it's not a predominant color in his color scheme. It doesn't make me dislike him or anything like that. It's just a little bit of a, well, that's what they wanted to go with. I will also say, though, despite my initial issues with the Deluxe versus the Ultra class, I'm actually kind of glad I went with the Ultra class, not just because I didn't have to repaint the entire figure. I also think that the Ultra class figure is fun. I like that he has the proper functionality of like being able to take the wolf head off and attach it to the sword, unlike the Deluxe, which doesn't have that. The wolf head's just stuck on his torso all the time. I like the unmasked head because in Cyberverse, the characters are more actual characters, so I kind of like that you can see their proper faces rather than having them hidden behind battle masks all the time. That works for me. And yeah, that's about all I can say about it. So that has been Cyberverse, I think, Adventures Ultra Class Thunderhowl. This was definitely an involved project. It took me several days because I had to wait for paint to dry, and of course I was doing other stuff with my time, but I'm really happy with how he turned out, as I've said many times. But that's enough of me talking about this. What do you all think of the figure, the custom job I did, any of that stuff? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you for watching, and please stay fabulous.